Hey guys, what's up? It's Fuzzy Fire here, and I'm here to bring you a little bit of a different video today. I haven't uploaded in a while, so I apologize for that. I've been struggling to decide what content to make, but today I'm going to give you guys my personal opinion on what to expect from Mage and a few of the other specs that I play in the War Within. Alright, so we're on Wowhead, and they've released the tier sets. So, and the hero talents. So let's start off with Mage, since this channel kind of evolves around Mage. I'm going to start with Fire, because Fire is kind of the one that I'm mostly disappointed in. The tier is just Phoenix Flames. Damage is increased by 10%, and that damage is increased by 25% on the primary target. Kind of seems underwhelming because Phoenix Flames doesn't really do that much anyway. And then the 4-piece is after dealing damage, Phoenix Flames has a 10% chance to return to you, refunding 1% of the cooldown on Phoenix Flames. Like when you hear 1% of the cooldown is reduced, that sounds like what is it, like 25 seconds? So cool, like 0.2 seconds shaved off of the cooldown, thanks. And an extra 6% spell damage for 10 seconds. I mean, I guess that's not too bad. That's kind of like the tier that we have right now, right? It's 4%, I believe. Maybe it's 6%. I don't know. It doesn't seem very innovative. It feels like they just came up with some new wording for the same tier that we have right now in season 4. The other thing about Fire is in the War Within, SKB is getting nerfed. So in Dragonflight, it's 8 hot streaks, and you get to SKB. In the War Within, it's 10 hot streaks. So that's kind of a big nerf, in my opinion. And it kind of sounds like Unleashed Inferno is going to be the move, where while you're in Combust, your spells do 60% increased damage. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Not sure how that's going to play out. In the hero talents, we have one that kind of caught my eye. Where is it? Right. So consuming burden of power causes your next cast of Fireblast to call down a storm of 4 meteorites. And each meteorite's impact reduces the cooldown of Fireblast. So, I mean, basically 4 seconds off Fireblast sounds kind of good. And it really just depends on how the meteorites are like tuned, right? Because like if it's like 4 like meteors, like 4 meteors is like kind of insane, right? Because meteor does do a lot of damage just a long cooldown. That's why we're not taking it right now. But if it's just like 4 meteorites that do piss all like 10k damage, then it's probably not going to be that game changing. All in all, I don't think that I will be playing Fire, at least in the beginning in the War Within, unless something changes. So Arcane is going to be very interesting. Basically, Arcane Blast, Arcane Explosion does 6% increased damage, and it's like a majority of our filler and stuff like that. So that's good. Arcane Blast and Arcane Explosion has a 10% chance to make your next Arcane Barrage deal 10% more damage and generate 4 Arcane Charges, which it already has like I think it's 40%. Arcane Barrage has a 40% chance to proc Orb Barrage, which gets you right back up to 4 charges anyway. So I feel like this is just an extra 10% chance to do that. So you basically have 50% chance to proc. Essentially just reset your Arcane Barrage in AoE. Not sure how that's going to work in... It's interesting, though, in single target. Because, like, in Raid, for example, you don't really press Arcane Barrage except for, like, certain situations in like a conserve phase, or you press it every time you press touch of the Magi, basically. And other than that, not so much. So I don't know if this is going to change anything for us in single target. That's kind of interesting. So we'll have to see how that goes. So just looking briefly over this, so we get access to arcane splinters, which is going to be interesting. When you consume another precision, you fire 2 arcane splinters at the target, which is already sounds pretty cool. And then you add some of these other talents, like like after being struck by an arcane orb, 20% of the direct damage dealt by an arcane splinter is also dealt to nearby enemies, so then you get the cleaving effect of your arcane splinters, which is even better. You get splintering orbs, which kind of sounds nutty. Volatile magic, making these arcane splinters explode. You get Splinter Storm, which is just, I mean, it's self-explanatory. Yeah, I don't, like, just briefly going over these, not too much in depth. I don't want to, like, spoil too much for myself in the War Within, but Arcane, like, spoiler, Arcane is probably going to be the go-to for Season 1. I don't think, even looking at the Frost stuff, so the Frost tier actually sounds like it has the most potential out of the 3, but the talents, the hero talents, synergizing with the tier, I think Arcane is way further ahead. But Frost, basically your Ice Lance is increased by 5%, and Fingers of Frost, which is your Ice Lance, increases your damage of your next frozen orb by 10%, stacking up to 10 times. Now, realistically, you're probably not going to be able to get 10 Fingers of Frost Ice Lances in between frozen orbs. However, the idea that you could potentially stack up to a double damage frozen orb is kind of nice. However, in AoE, as it sits right now in Dragonflight, you're mainly spam. It's mainly Blizzard and Frozen Orb spam with Comet Storm in there as well. And then obviously you build up in between your Blizzards and Orbs. You're building up your Glacial Spike and you're sending it. So I don't think if it plays the same way, you're not going to be able to get to a double damage Frozen Orb. You'll probably get like 3 to 4. So like a 40% increase on Frozen Orb is kind of more realistic. And then you have this other, the 4-piece, which is just every, your Frozen Orb increases Ice Lance's damage by 15%. It doesn't say it stacks, and I'm curious to see the interaction because, in Dragonflight, on like bigger poles where your Blizzard's hitting more targets, and like when you're lusted and stuff, you could have like 4 to 5 frozen orbs out at once. So it doesn't say it stacks, but does it is my question. Because if we have 4 to 5 orbs that and it does stack, 60% Ice Lance damage is kind of nutty. We have to wait and see how that plays. That it could be big, it could not be big. So, Frostfire and Spellslinger. Spellslinger, we already went over. Frostfire doesn't really seem all that good to me. So we get Frostfire Bolt, right? And Frostfire was around, like, I've been playing a little bit of Cataclysm Classic. Frostfire was in there, and they kind of just brought that back, like Frostfire Bolt. So the cooldown of fire spells is reduced by 30%. Obviously, like, that could work well on Fire Mage with Combust. With frost, icy vein reduction could be good. Casting frost or fire spells increases your frostfire bolt. Great. Have a chance to trigger so every time you cast frost or fire spells, you have a chance to trigger an additional bolt of frostfire. Interesting. Reaching maximum stacks of fire mastery causes your next ice lands to apply living bomb. And then it also procs brain freeze. Okay. So you could basically get 8% haste or 8% mastery from the flash freeze burn. I don't know. I mean, Frostfire, it just sounds like it has some good synergies in here, but it kind of feels like it's more tailored towards Frost when you read stuff like reaching maximum fire stacks causes your next ice lance to apply living bomb, and then the living bomb explodes and gives brain freeze. To me, that it just sounds like that's tailored more towards Frost. AC Veins is still 2 minutes. It doesn't seem like anything's too different in the actual talent tree. So I personally, tier list wise, like if I was making a tier list, I would say Arcane is probably going to be the best, season 1, then Frost, and then Fire. However, there is a chance that Frost is better than Arcane, depending on how this stuff right here interacts with stuff. So that's my 2 cents. Anyway, I won't keep you guys here much longer. That's the cliff notes for Mage, and hopefully you guys learned something. I don't know. Otherwise, I am streaming right now, more than likely at twitch.tv/mfxoldie. Feel free to stop on by, chill, have a good time, ask questions. I will be there. But thanks, guys. Bye.